we are back with Dr. Jay Pirtle with Cone Health LeBauer Gastroenterology and Division Chief for Cone Health GI Services. With it being Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, he's talking all about colonoscopy as a screening. Let's talk about a few myths or fears about colonoscopies that we can just clear up.
Yeah, I think one of them is that colonoscopy is painful. And the truth is that this is a sedated exam. And we do everything we can to ensure that there's minimal discomfort, and very often there's no discomfort at all. So many of our patients wake up and aren't even sure that we've started yet. And so that's the nice part, that this is not a painful test.
Right.
Another one is that the bowel prep is terrible or too difficult, and it's generally manageable. We have different solutions. There's even a pill-based prep now. I did my colonoscopy a couple months ago, which gives away my age, I guess, but it wasn't so bad. The prep was effective. It does its job, and really the prep's so important, and so that we can see. We really can't find what we can't see, and so getting through the prep is just very important. Mm-hmm. Another myth is that if you don't have symptoms, that you don't need a colonoscopy, and it's in fact quite the opposite. You want a colonoscopy before you have symptoms, as we talked about earlier. And then others that it's too expensive or too time consuming. And so very often colonoscopy is well covered by most insurance, which makes it manageable. The test itself takes 30 minutes or less of actual sedation time. And you're generally off work the day of the test. You do not have to be off work the day before or the day after. And so a lot of those things make the test, really easier than one expects.
Yeah, I would agree with all of those things. I had mine this past year as well, so I think all of those things that you hit. I mean, I'm going to say when they hear it from the doctor, one thing; when they hear it from a normal person, too, and say, "Yep, that's true." All of those things that he said are right. All right, so when we're doing that pre-prep stuff for the colonoscopy, let's talk about some do's and don'ts that could help with that process.
Yeah, so usually about a week before, 5 to 7 days before the colonoscopy, you start to reduce the fiber in your diet. So you eat less roughage, but really it's the day before that you do clear liquids, and that doesn't mean that you can't have any calories. It just means that you can have solid foods. The bowel prep itself, which is if you pick the solution version, which is most, starts in the evening around 6 p.m. the day before your colonoscopy. You can still have clear liquids that entire day and evening. And then early on the morning of your test, you do a second half of the bowel prep. And then 3 hours before, you don't have anything else to drink until after the procedure. Then generally when you wake up, you're able to go eat and drink as normally.
Okay. In addition to getting the colonoscopy, what kind of lifestyle changes should we all be making to help lower our risk of colon cancer?
So certainly avoiding tobacco, not smoking is incredibly important. Eating a high fiber diet with fresh fruits and vegetables, limiting processed meats. We do have more data that processed meats may be involved in the genesis of polyps and colon cancer. Limiting alcohol, exercising regularly, and trying to maintain a healthy weight. Those are general, that's for more things than just colon cancer, but those are the things we talk about.
General good health for sure. All right, so for folks, besides age, besides family history, are there other risk factors for colon cancer that we should be aware of?
Some of them are the lifestyle things that we just talked about. So smokers are at higher risk, patients that are overweight or obese, patients with a long history of heavy alcohol intake. Diabetics, type 2 diabetics particularly, are at slightly increased risk of colon cancer. Also patients with long-standing inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, colitis, that affects the risk of the disease. Possibly low vitamin D levels, and then race. American Indians and African Americans have a slightly higher risk of colon cancer over their lifetime.
Okay. We've kind of gone over that the screening, that we need to start it at 45, that it really takes that 30 minutes for the actual procedure itself, that the next day after the screening you can go to work and things are just fine. So finally, as we're kind of wrapping things up here, for someone who has been putting off their colonoscopy, what is your message to them right now?
Really, it's to be proactive and try to get over the fear of talking to your doctor about it. It's important. It truly can save your life. Colon cancer is the third most common cancer in America, and it is really preventable. And truly, the best screening test of all that we talked about is the one that you will do. So pick one, and just do it.
I mean, and to a testament, any of you who watch WFMY News 2, you know our own Julie Luck. She went through this. She got that routine colonoscopy and found out that she had cancer. And so she was able to be a cancer survivor. And we're just so thankful that she was able to find it early, just like you were saying.
Yes.
All right, so if you need to send this to someone in your family, someone that is a friend of yours who has been kind of putting this off, we want you to be able to send this interview to them. It is going to be in the To Your Wellbeing section of our website. Right now, we're going to take a quick break from all of this, and we're going to get into the forecast for the week.